So I'm one of a few general partners building a private equity company from scratch. And today I want to give you like an actual documented day in the life because we've got a lot of stuff coming up. It's all coming together all at once. And so we're in game mode right now. It is a beautiful Saturday morning, and today I'm going to be working all day. We've got a lot of stuff to get done because we have two major events coming up this week, and in a couple weeks, we have two major events that are bringing in investors and bringing in business owners to acquire. And there's a lot going on behind the scenes, a lot of preparation that's gone into this. And so today you're going to get perspectives from a few different people that are working on the fund with me behind the scenes that are either working on the investor relations side or the acquisition side. And we're just going to get deep into it, like the specifics of how this actually works.
One thing about you, bro, is when you put your mind to it, you get it done.
I believe the term that you coined was ethical equity.
So if it's going for 5.5 million and it's doing like 1.845 in cash flow, that's actually a really, really good deal.
What do you feel like is going to be the moving factor for us to jump and make the leaps that we plan to make within like the beginning of the year?
Ivan that we've been mentioning actually got Winter Park City Magazine Entrepreneur of the Year recently. He's one of the partners of the fund.
250 people already sold out, 170 people on a waiting list. But when we're in that venue, it's kill mode.
The goal right now is to source as many businesses as we can.
You have to bring in both at the same time to continue building the fund. The more that you can cut out all the distractions, the easier it is to execute and just do like the one thing that's going to make the most impact. I'm going to give you all a little tour of one of our businesses in our portfolio. And we're actually doing an event here next month that we're going to use to bring in a lot of home services businesses, which are actually the types of businesses that we're looking to acquire here in Central Florida. So we're here at Workspace and Clubhouse, and it's actually like a local entrepreneurial co-working space, but it's a lot different than most co-working spaces or even like most coffee shops. You can come here like any day, Monday through Saturday, and just set up and work, and there's always other entrepreneurs and business owners here, so it's really cool. So come on in. So this is what it looks like. This is the space. I'm here literally probably like at least 3 or 4 days a week, just chilling and working. But let's go on into the room here. I'll tell you a little bit about what we've been working on so far.
Got the microphone in hand.
Yeah. Oh yeah. We got the chessboard right here. And a lot of times the lobby's pretty full and buzzing, so we're working in here or the room next door when we're trying to get a lot of work done. So Ryan and I have been here since like 10 a.m. It's almost 4 now, and we've been cooking. Ryan, what have we been working on today?
Today we worked on our flyers and event management stuff for our upcoming event here at Zico. More about that later. We fleshed out some of the stuff for the fund that we've been working on in the operations and our acquisition. What's that going to look like? How do we want to scale that, and kind of our plan for the first 5 years going forward?
Specifically, like what kinds of people do we need to bring in to run the businesses after we acquire them? Because the problem with most private equity firms is when they buy a business, they just take out like the owner, and that leaves a huge gap in the operations. And sometimes those businesses like start losing people, losing customers, losing employees because they're just not run as well. So we're really taking it seriously, like what kinds of people we bring in after we acquire these businesses. Like they need to have experience running companies like this, or like in this industry, or they need to be really competent, proven operators somewhere else that we feel like has transferable skills.
I believe the term that you coined was ethical equity. That's how we want to operate this, where we're giving back to the community and the business as a whole, while also being able to scale it further than it possibly would have been under previous ownership.
Yeah, so I'll show you a little bit about like what we've been talking about today. So Ryan mentioned the event that I was talking about. So we're gonna have that event here. Whenever we have events here, I know we walked through the lobby earlier. There's that space out there. You basically just you can have a speaker kind of speak up at the front, and then you've got an audience, and it's a really like nice intimate setting, not a huge spot, which is nice because as an audience member you can kind of give your input. It doesn't really feel as much like a lecture like a lot of speeches you go to. It's more like a collective thing where people can ask questions and give input. But we've basically been talking about like putting on this event specifically for the types of businesses here in town that we're looking to acquire in the future. So these are home services businesses like HVAC companies, electrical contracting companies, plumbing companies, restoration companies. So we're having a speaker that helps a lot of home services companies generate more revenue through insurance claims. So he's going to come and he's going to tell them all about how they can literally be generating just tens of thousands of extra dollars per year with these insurance claims that a lot of them don't know they can do. And it's really cool because this company actually helps them do that just for a commission rather than actually like charging them to do it. Then the other speakers are one of our partner companies. So they run a local HVAC and duct cleaning company here in town called Duct's Duct Cleaning. And so we've been, like, Ryan and I have been doing some work for them earlier today. I got on with the guys earlier. We launched a whole marketing campaign where basically we texted and emailed a lot of their previous customers about getting on their maintenance plan. So that gives like recurring revenue for them that just makes the business easier to grow and easier to sell too for more money. So that's kind of just future positioning them to sell for more money when we eventually finish this whole play. That's a lot of the same type of thing that we'll do for companies that we acquire. But for this event, our big goal is all the companies that come, like the owners of other home services businesses, we want them to come in and just use us as a resource. We want them to think of us as a resource in the community for things like sales and marketing and increasing their company and growing it. So that's why we brought these speakers in that are like in the same industry as them, that can actually give them tangible walkaways from the event. And hopefully what will come of that is that some of the ones that we get to know will trust us a little bit more and look to us as a resource to grow their business. And maybe even when they're ready to sell, want to sell to us as part of this whole play. So Johnson's in the other room. He's been helping too with the fund with like a lot of business development stuff, like specifically for people here in town. So let's go talk to him a little bit. Going into the deal maker room. What's up, man?
What's up, G? How you
What's you in
feeling?
here doing?
I like your shirt.
Thank you, man. I like that. Same color.
Yeah, it is, right?
What you in here cooking on?
The PE firm stuff, man. I know it's coming together soon. We're almost finished with everything, especially coming up to the event. So make sure that I have my portion of what I'm bringing to the table, which is the investor relationships, and make sure that like the scripts are put together, making sure everything's put into fine order so that when they come in, they're comfortable, they feel safe, they feel, that they're in good hands.
What do you feel like is the biggest thing with like business development relationships to make people feel comfortable and safe in something like this?
Honestly, I've realized helping them understand where their problems lie so that they understand that they need us.
I heard you on the phone yesterday talking to this business owner.
Yeah.
You were silky smooth.
Bro, you didn't hear the rest of it. Bro, I asked her
yeah.
a key question that made her like ponder for like 30 seconds.
Really?
You want the question?
Yeah.
You gotta come to our next. I'm just playing. So I said on a scale of 1 to 10, I'll give you more context first. So basically, she has a sports agency that her sales reps aren't making upsells. So she's not happy with that. She wants more money in. Like she doesn't care about how big or small the client is. She wants everybody to feel the same. Mm-hmm. Okay. So I asked her. I said, on a scale from 1 to 10, how passionate are your reps now compared to you? Because obviously, as a business owner, you're the most passionate person in the room. She said, about 5 or 6. Second question, how do we make that not a 10, but a 7 or an 8?
Yeah, because 10 wouldn't be realistic.
It's not realistic. Then she pondered, okay, let's make it happen. So,
what does she feel like they were at the moment?
A 5 or a 6.
A 5 or 6?
Yeah,
okay.
Halfway.
Yeah.
Which is typical because they came from a bigger firm, bigger agency, and then they're a boutique. The lady that I was on the phone with yesterday is a boutique. So, to answer your question, it's just to help them understand that I'm in the same boat as you. I understand your problems. I'm not coming at you like I know everything. I know your problems. Let's come together and figure out how we can execute so that we can grow the business together.
So obviously when you're trying to build a fund like we are, like it's all about relationships and about how you make people feel coming in. Like you want to make them, especially for like a new fund like we are,
Yeah.
You want to make them feel like they can trust what our plan is and what
Exactly.
we're going to do. How do you feel like that changes when there's a lot of money involved with like what we're doing, and like how do you translate that trust to a higher level?
So what's good about it is we got some heavy hitters that's involved, like yourself, Iman, Eli, myself, and Grant. So that's one of the layers of trust. Like, who's handling my money? Do they have the expertise to have the money? Two, I think what happens is when it comes to money, a lot of people want control. But if we give them step by step on how we're going to use the money, I feel like they're going to be able to have more trust in us, especially us being a newer and I would say we're experienced with the type of experience that we have, but obviously on market, we're new. So I think those two things are what's going to be the most important, but also just making them feel comfortable. Like I said earlier, bro, it's like just making them feel humble or human, I should say. Like they make a lot of money, but also put the same pants on like we do.
Yeah, don't
Shirt,
put them
like,
up on a pedestal.
no, because people don't. They want to feel normal, bro. So
I like what you said before about like even though we are a new fund, like we do have experience coming in. I feel like anyone that is starting a new fund, you've got to leverage the experience that you do have coming in.
Yeah.
Like for us, we've got experience going back like a few dozen years with between some of us. So a huge part of like the communication we've been talking about and putting together has been how do we communicate where that experience comes from and what the collective experience going into this was that translates to what we're doing.
Yeah. How do you feel about it? Like, what do you feel like is going to be the moving factor for us to jump and make the leaps that we plan to make within like the beginning of the year?
That's a great question because I feel like there's so many fund managers out there that are trying to start funds now that like it's easier to find the information on how to do it. You have to have an edge for what you're doing to convince an investor to go with us versus someone else. With us, our edge is our experience, like we were talking about. We're all entrepreneurs coming into this with like some of us decades of experience actually running and scaling businesses.
Yeah.
And there's so many people that come into the private equity world that just came from other big private equity firms and they're like, I've been doing this for a while, I'm just gonna do it on my own.
Yeah.
And for them, I feel like they always lead with just looking at the financials and making decisions based on that.
Yeah.
And as we know as entrepreneurs, you have to understand the financials and have a good picture of the financials. But a lot of times you can't make the decision fully on the financials.
Exactly.
You have to look at the people and the operations and actually understand that. And a lot of times they also come in and they're trying to just cut costs and optimize things as much as possible just to sell it and do the least amount of effort possible.
Yeah.
And our plan is completely different.
Yep.
And this is like the new age of private equity is like because it's getting more competitive, you can really only stand out if when you do come in, you grow the business after acquiring.
Exactly.
And a lot of them get these businesses and they're like, let's just keep them the same, sell them off as a package for a higher price to someone who's going to do the same thing or even cut costs and get rid of people, get rid of inefficiencies. And a lot of times people hate private equity because that happens all the time. They bring them in and they'll just get rid of people and they kill the spirit of the company because of that. They got them to that point. So we want to just elevate the spirit of that company. Like we want to elevate the spirit of it and just help them do way more of what they're doing. And I think it's really cool because yourself, myself, Ivan, Eli, Grant, Brian, everyone that's involved, like we've all taken that spirit in our previous ventures and helped business owners grow and just do more of what they're doing already. So we're going to take that same approach with what we're doing too.
Yeah, I'm excited, man. It's going to be big. I was just telling my friend earlier, like, yo, we got some big stuff happening, and because that's happening all at the same time around when we're like, all right, I'm at the peak of where I am with my individual efforts. Let's come together and collaborate, and we all are cool together. To your point, like, just making them feel like they're people and just disarming them with everything. Because money is money is one of those things that's like life-changing, positively and negatively. Money is one of those things that show your true character. Are you a good person or a bad person? Right? So like I like what we like. I like our method of vetting people is based off of, can you hang out with us? Like, are you able to come sit around and just talk shop without talking business and still have a good time? Or are you one of those people that just business minded? That's okay, but now we know how to deal with you, right?
I really learned that from dealing with Ivan and you. Like the way you guys like approach any kind of partnership. You guys had that talk on partnerships not too long ago. And a lot of times when we're talking, he'll say something or you'll say something like, let me sit with him a little bit longer. Like just let me like get to know him a little bit more, like see what he's all about. and I had never really like thought of it that way. I had never really like put a ton of stake in that. I always thought of partnerships in very black and white terms that a lot of people do, which is, do we have complementing strengths? And that's so important. But another huge part of it is like, do we get along together? Do we have the same values?
Do we like being around each other?
Yeah. Do we just enjoy each other's company? Because that has a huge stake in whether it's going to work out long term.
That's true. Damn, man. We could have had a whole podcast.
I know, we basically are.
But yeah, bro.
When two podcast hosts get together.
That's great. Yeah. That's right. Yeah. But yeah, man, I'm excited for what's to come. I know it's nothing but big stuff just because we're all on the same path of wanting it to happen. Just a matter of when, not if, you know?
And so we've got this event coming up on Thursday. We've got this event, so actually I'll be right back. I'm going to grab one. No,
it's right there.
Right here.
Yeah, Jay, come on, man.
So Ivan that we've been mentioning actually got Winter Park City Magazine Entrepreneur of the Year recently. So he's one of the partners of the fund. And he's got a big celebration event this Thursday that we've been preparing.
Did he tell you that there's 250 people already sold out, and then there's 170 people on a waiting list?
That's crazy. That's so crazy.
Well, I'll let you finish.
He told me that like they were discussing like the capacity of the venue, and he was like, "That's not
We're gonna need the Amway." I'm telling you, or Kia Center.
So we're celebrating this this massive achievement that he got, like that he worked so hard for, and absolutely like deserves to be every year, in my opinion. Like he's been killing it, and we're using this as a big launching point to be able to talk about the fund and what we've been doing. We've got a lot of people that are coming out that want to be part of it, that want to know more about it. So we've just been preparing a lot to, have those conversations, to be able to communicate these things, to all understand how to communicate what the fund is on the same principles, and like understand what it's about, what it's driving towards.
Yeah.
So it's been really fun the last couple of weeks. It's been a lot of just in the pits work, preparation.
Bro,
this is like game.
You got that website done fast as shit, bro.
So I talked to Ivan like early last week, and I was like, I feel like I'm going all these different directions, trying to figure out what the most important things are to work on in the fund right now, because there's so many things to work on all the time. And he was like, right now with the event coming up, let's get this website kicked out as quickly as we can.
Yeah.
And so I was like, I just made that my focus. I cleared like a whole chunk of my calendar, and I was just like, let's get it
done.
And
one thing about you, bro, is when you put your mind to it, you get it done like expeditiously.
If I know what to do.
Expeditiously. Is that how you say it? Expeditiously. Expeditiously. Exponentially. That's a new word.
Mr. Webster over here.
No, but like, bro, one thing I admire about you, or there's many things I admire, but one of the most important things is the way you manage your time and the way you're like very, very intentional about your time and how you like stick to the guns. Like, yo, sorry, I don't got that. Maybe next week. But what that does is it allows people to respect you as a person and your time, which allows you to get shit done. So I say all that to say the way and the amount of time that you had to finish the website, bro. When did we meet at Superior? Like last Friday?
Last Friday, yeah.
And then what?
I hadn't
Tuesday?
started on it yet.
Yeah, Tuesday you had it finished. Like that's crazy. And that speaks to your effort, your work ethic too.
The thing is, what I've noticed, like as an entrepreneur, like you want to do all these things, and you can easily get caught up in the paralysis of analysis of like figuring out what to do. So if you can go get some feedback from someone, like I was talking about, like asking Ivan, what is like the thing to be working on right now? Like what can I do right now that can have us most prepared for Thursday, for the event Thursday? And he gave me that, and I was like, okay, that makes it easy. That cuts out the noise. So what I've noticed as an entrepreneur is the more that you can cut out all the distractions, the easier it is to execute and just do like the one thing that's going to make the most impact.
Like, I don't know about you, but when it comes to like daily tasks, you know how some people have like 10, 15 things to do? I would never get anything done because I'll feel overwhelmed. So I've learned having like 1, 2, or 3 things on a list, now your day feels accomplished. You know what I mean? I think we talked about that before, like off camera. And it like that helped me so much. So to your point,
One thing I admire about you a lot is like One thing I admire about you a lot is like you can really like take things back a notch as far as like you're really good at like relaxing and just taking the pressure off of things. I feel like that's the other side of the coin, which is like if you put too much pressure on yourself, then you don't get anything done.
Yeah.
You do a really good job of like keeping things cool, relaxed, keeping everyone like on task, but in a non like serious like let's just execute all the time kind of way.
Yeah.
That I feel like just keeps the group moving.
You know what's funny? I was just told I was too professional. Right?
Who said that?
I don't know. Somebody in the room. But
Sounds like an unprofessional person.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. But I appreciate that, man. Literally, like, I've learned how to be more present and understand that people can't operate at a high level like we do. So I have to meet them where they are to make them be productive, but also get it done in a way where they don't feel pressured or overwhelmed or controlled. Because I don't want to be a micromanager. That's not my thing. You're not like that. Iman's not like that. Eli's not like that. Like, we understand people, so we operate in a way where we meet them where they are, but also get the most out of them when we need to get it done.
I think that's the key.
That's the key, bro. Like, if we have to be stern, we be stern. If we're not, that means they're doing their job. You know what I mean?
I think so too. What do you think is the number one thing for us to have like clear in our minds going forward the next couple of weeks?
The first thing we got to remember is the hard part is done. We've done enough preparation. We've done enough planning. Obviously, we're going to do some more talking in between to make sure the P's and Q's are dotted. But as far as us being like overwhelmed, again, the hard part is done. We already got the website up. We got the LLC. We got everything else in place. All we got to focus on is execution. And we're all killer executors. So, to answer the question, I would say celebrate the accomplishments that we had and where we're about to go. But when we're in that venue, it's kill mode. And that's the only thing we need to focus on.
Kill mode.
Kill mode.
That's
it.
right. It's game day, baby. It's game day.
That's what he said. Yo, I mean, I was talking the other day. I think you were there too. But he was like, bro, you know that feeling when you're about to go into like a football game, like you used to play on the team, and you about to step on the field, you feel the energy, like it feels like that.
Yeah.
It's gonna be like a movie.
It's like a culmination of like all of this work, like literally years of work coming into it, if you really think about it. Yeah. And it's just time to execute.
Yeah, bro.
You know what I feel like is another thing I've learned about entrepreneurship is like a lot of times we have these moments, like these game day moments, and sometimes you can go in and you get like nervous about them. But when I think about it, because of all the preparation we've done, I don't really feel nervous about it. I feel excited about it.
Yeah.
And like, it's an anxious moment still, right? There's anxiety about the thing because it's like, it's a big deal. It's like up on this pedestal, like it's a thing that we're taking very seriously, doing a lot of preparation for. And I think a lot of times that anxiety either manifests as excitement or nervousness. And the more you prepare, the more it just manifests as excitement to carry out what you've prepared to execute.
Yeah.
And if you haven't prepared enough, then a lot of times it manifests as nervousness because you internalize that and you're like, I don't know if I'm going to get it done the right way because I'm not prepared.
Yeah. Can I challenge your view on that?
Please.
So last Wednesday with Meredith, our topic was like the theory of epicness. And I had my presentation ready to go, but she killed it, so I didn't speak. But one of the points that I was going to make was like the way we define our feelings is what our brain only knows. So for example, you touched on it. Instead of us saying anxiety, we're just excited because we're not anxious to the point of fear. We're anxious to the point of getting something that we've been working towards and accomplishing, right? So to your point, I'm saying like the way we view, the way we go in is going to be the way our body reacts to the moment. If we say, oh shoot, I'm excited about it, and I don't overthink it and we just be present in the moment, then the things that we want will come attract to us rather than us having to chase.
I think so too.
You know what I mean? It's the same thing as like manifestation and stuff like that. I'm not big into that because I don't fully understand, but I know like if my intentions are right and I work towards the thing and my mindset is if I'm there already, then it'll come. We've been doing that for the past couple months, So
I think the more preparation you put in, the easier it is for you to have that right mindset.
Exactly.
Like if you think about all the things that you have going for, like all the things working for you going into something, you're like, I'm excited. Like it's easy to be excited. So I think we're gonna kill it.
I think so too, bro.
Game day.
Yes, sir.
All right.
All right, G.
So let's talk a little bit about what we've been working on. So, like I said, Ryan and I have been here literally since 10 a.m. And so we've been working on all this stuff. So the first thing that we did is we've got that event next month that I was talking about, the home services event. So for that, we had to set up an event on Eventbrite. So that's like basically like a listing site for events and meetups and stuff like that. If you've never used it, it's really awesome. You should check it out, especially if you want to find local networking events in your city. But we have to set the event up on Eventbrite. So what I did there is basically, we're working on it right now, but I've got this listing, Central Florida Home Services Growth Summit. It's not posted yet, but it's on the account that we have for this location. The cool thing about that is like if you have an actual venue that you're running and you have events all the time, you can build a little bit of a following on here too, and then people that have seen other events will see it again. So we'll have it on here, and right now I'm working on the flyer for it too. So this is what we've got. We've got the speakers on there and everything. We're going to have a couple different speakers, and then I'm going to be hosting it. And it's going to be all about scaling quickly with Google Ads, increasing profits with upselling, closing more jobs through insurance claims, and then how to adapt to the changing labor market. And I'm really excited about that because I think it's going to provide a lot of value for some of these home service owners. So we've been working on getting that event all set up, just the logistics of that. The other thing is written agreements for some of our interns. So they're working on things on both sides. They're helping us find investors that can raise capital for the fund, but also helping us find businesses that can be potential acquisition targets. So to incentivize that, they're actually able to get a small commission. So we were writing up the agreements just for how that works, how they get paid out and all that stuff, then sending it out to them. And then we haven't done this yet. Ryan and I are running a little bit behind, so we'll probably finish this up tomorrow. But the other thing we're doing is setting up a campaign on something called Resquared. This is basically like an emailing outreach type of thing where you can find local small businesses and reach out to them. So we're going to be emailing like dozens and dozens, if not hundreds, of local businesses that actually fit the category of the ones we're trying to attract to this event, so that we can get them out here and actually bring them and teach them these things, but also get to know them a little bit. So we're super excited for that. We've run that for other stuff before and had it work really well. And then we were getting the interns added into our back-end CRM. So I'll show you what that looks like. Basically, if we go in here, we use something called Go High Level. And what we set it up as is if you go in here, let me refresh real quick. What we did is I made a form that the interns can fill out when they're calling people. And then when they put someone in on the form, they pop up as an opportunity like this. So they're like invited on phone. And this way they can keep track of the people that they've been inviting to the event that they're trying to like, kind of nurture along and like get to know a little bit and invite them. And they can actually call them back if they need to. They can set reminders and stuff like that. So it just helps them stay organized, really just keep going after what they're doing. And then the last thing that we're doing is filling out a buyer profile for some of the businesses we're submitting interest for. So what Ryan and I have been working on is going on different listing sites. So Ryan, tell them a little bit about that, like biz, buy, sell, businesses for sale, stuff like that. Like the sites that we've been finding like some of these business listings on, because you've been working on that a lot today.
Yeah, for sure. So sourcing a lot of deals has been the primary thing that I've been working on, obviously with everything else as well, but sourcing through publicly available sites like BizBuySell, Business for Sale, LoopNet, doing outreach and getting an idea for what these people are looking for and kind of how the brokers are wanting to move the process along. It's a great way to get a lot of conversations going about what these businesses are looking to sell at and why. Getting a lot of that stuff is important, and we utilize a time versus price or terms versus price is really what it comes down to. Your terms, our price, your price, our terms. And we find that a lot of people are very receptive to that because we are actively trying to engage them in the process, and the understanding of meeting in the middle, in a sense, is something that people are very receptive to once you lay it out and explain it.
So this is my favorite business that Ryan found earlier today. This is on Biz Buy Sell, and he's been keeping kind of a spreadsheet for us to look at of like the businesses that we're interested in right now that are actually listed. So he found this one earlier, and they're asking 5.5 million for it, but it's cash flowing 1.8 million. So do some quick math on the spot here. Basically, the way businesses sell is always on a multiple. So if it's going for 5.5 million and it's doing like 1.845 in cash flow, that's just under a 3 times multiple. For anything doing over $1 million in cash flow, that's actually a really, really good deal. Like it's a crazy good deal, especially for something like this. So this is one that we're taking really seriously. On Monday, because it's Saturday today, on Monday, I'm going to be making calls out to a lot of these brokers. Because if you go on, like if you're not familiar with Biz Buy Sell, a lot of times either you fill out a contact form to submit that you're interested, or you can go directly on here and actually call the business broker. Like, I'm not going to show his number. Well, it's listed online. You know what? I don't care. But you could just call the broker right up. So Mr. Patrick Lang here from Business Modification Group listed this business. He would be the one negotiating on behalf of it and representing it, telling us about it and stuff, and would help us buy it if we wanted to. So they've got 19 employees. They're located in a nearby county to us, and they're trying to sell. And honestly, like I said, it's a really great price. They're willing to remain on short term to make sure it transitions smoothly. And he wants to sell because he's retiring. So our goal here would be to get a little bit more information from the broker, see whether it really is like a good business on the inside, which when it's been around for 24 years like this one and it's got a staff of 19, it's doing that much in profit. This is going to be a really solid business, I think. So aside from that, the next step for us would just be to fill out a little bit more information from our end about who we are, what the funding situation looks like, and what our plans are. And then if everything checked out for them and they were interested in selling to us, the business broker would probably eventually introduce us to the person selling the business. If you see here, it doesn't actually say the name of the business. They keep everything confidential until we're talking to them. So we don't know what the business is. We can't really do our own research. So we would talk to this broker, and eventually they would introduce us to the one selling the business. And if everything went smoothly, we would put in an offer for that business. We would kind of negotiate the terms. We would check into everything, and then eventually close it. This is one that we're really hoping to get because we have actually someone picked out that wants to be an operator of this business and potentially also invest in it at the same time. So kind of a cool situation where they would come in and they'd be running the day-to-day, but also have a lot of skin in the game of the business, which from the perspective of our investors, they really like that because that means continued success of the business. They're really going to have a lot of reason for the business to succeed because the person running it has money on the line. But also it's a really cool opportunity for someone who has funds to buy a business, but not enough to fully buy a business like this. Because not everyone, very few people have $5.5 million laying around. But there's a lot of people that we know that have like a couple $100,000 that they want to invest into a business and run it. So we have someone like that we found that is actually looking into HVAC specifically and has worked in HVAC for over a decade that wants to take over a business like this and is moving into town. So this is really our favorite opportunity for that person. What else would you say about looking for businesses though? Ryan's really been like the mastermind behind the scenes today, finding this one, finding other ones, kind of like exploring these opportunities.
Yeah, that's kind of the goal right now is to source as many businesses as we can. So the goal of having a sort of line of people who are wanting to sell, want to work with us, and understand what we're doing is very important. So as quickly as possible, sourcing those, finding them, and getting them in the system, as we call it, is important because we're going to be very quickly expanding and purchasing businesses, and we're going to need to have those businesses lined up because we're going to have investors who have money to spend. And if you don't have somewhere for them to spend it, they will go somewhere else. So having these opportunities with qualified professionals to operate them with your fund is something that we take very seriously. So my role today has been sourcing the deals, finding them, trying to get the outreach going, and then also making sure that I have a network of operators, or what we call our bullpen, ready to step in and take them to the next level.
Going off of what Ryan said, like the biggest thing when you're running a fund is having opportunities coming in from both sides. So I've talked a lot about how like We've got the one event that we're inviting a lot of business owners to, and the other event that we're inviting a lot of investors to. You have to bring in both at the same time to continue building the fund. The way it works is like you bring in an investor, they either invest in a specific deal that you have or the fund as a whole, and then whatever the terms are that you agree on with that investor, you then go use those funds that they either committed or actually already gave you to go purchase a business, or you go find a business, bring it that you want to buy, that the seller wants to sell to you. You go take that to an investor, tell them about the deal, then they might get interested at that point. So it's kind of like running both sides all at the same time. And you're just always trying to push both sides forward at the same time and cohesively bring them together. So that's where we're at right now. And these two events really should just amplify what we're able to do on both sides. So we've been cooking today. It's been a long Saturday, but we've got a lot to work up to this month, and this is really a big launching point for us. So we're excited. Stay tuned for more updates to come. Subscribe if you've enjoyed any of this content and you want to follow along. I also do daily videos on exactly what I'm doing each day to actually build this fund on Instagram, TikTok, and on here on YouTube. But give me a follow, give me a subscription if you like this content. And if you want to get to know more about the fund and what we're doing, it's called Elevate Growth Capital. And we've got our website linked in the description. You can find out about what it looks like to invest, what it looks like to help us out with the fund, like Ryan's doing, like a lot of people are doing to help us out. Or you can find out about what it actually looks like to be acquired by the fund as a business that is either in home services or one of the other sectors that we're looking at. And follow for more. I'll see you on the next one.